Hey y'all, for years there was this little dessert that I made because it was so easy to make. If you were in a pinch, had company and had nothing planned for dessert, well, we're gonna take this super simple and delicious little, for lack of a better word, we'll call it a trifle. We're gonna make it for St. Patty's week because, like the way they turn the rivers green, we're gonna turn our whipping cream green. And I have started with 2 cups of heavy whipping cream and a half a cup of sugar. And we're gonna beat this until it forms really nice peaks. So I know it's hard to hear over this mixer, so I'll see you when it's ready. Okay. That is perfect, y'all. You can see that it'll hold its shape. So that's just what we want. And I had 2 cups of heavy cream, a half a cup of sugar, and about a half a teaspoon of vanilla flavoring. So this whipped cream is delicious. So you talking about easy? Easy. Now, if you really want to make it good, start with a homemade chocolate chip. It would be wonderful. But you know what? The convenience and the swiftness of this recipe is just perfect with these chocolate chip cookies, and they chunks. They like me, they chunks. All right, before we do that though, we're gonna come back down here to our whipping cream because we're using this to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. So I'm using a gel food coloring, and I don't want to overdo it. So I'm gonna start with a little. You know, you can always add 2, but you can't take that sucker out once you put it in there. It's out. All right, so this gel may take a little bit more than like the old-timey, you know, little squirt bottles. This reminds me of that pistachio fluff, you know, that we make, Eddie. Yeah. Oh, it's so good. I'm gonna give it one more little squirt so people they'll know it's supposed to be green, not sick looking. This gel is pretty because, see, you can do it like that and not mix it up good and just let it swirl. But I'm gonna go ahead and mix it all up in there. Okay, so we're gonna come on over. You know, the grand part about this recipe is you can make it as big or as little as you want to. We could actually make it in a bowl this size, or we could make it in a 13 by 9 by 2, or we could make it in a large trifle bowl. So I'm gonna start by putting a little spoonful of our beautiful sweetened whipped cream. And we just, look, see that pretty streak in it right there? Can you see that, Eddie, through the glass? Mm-hmm. I think that's so pretty. All right, now we're gonna quickly dump our cookies down in milk. I mean, just that quick. We're not gonna let them soak in it till they're soft. How hard is this? This would be a fun one to make with your children or your grandchildren. They would have fun making this. Okay, so we're gonna come back in with another layer of our yummy whipped cream. So you see, if you wanna make this using 6 sacks of chocolate chip cookies, you can. Like I said, I love making it when I've got fresh cookies, fresh homemade cookies, but I'm gonna have to get this up here where I can get to it. Okie dokie. Okay, so we're gonna go with another layer of cookies. And you see I didn't put much milk in there because you really don't need much unless you're making this for a big crowd. Let's see, we're not leaving it long enough for those cookies to soak up much of that milk. So can you believe how easy, fast and easy this recipe is, y'all? And you don't have to use chocolate chips. You can use whatever cookie you like. I love macadamia nut cookies a lot. Peanut butter cookies, I love a lot. Oatmeal cookies, I love a lot. So, you know, whatever your favorite cookie is. So that was our last layer, and I think we got 3 layers out of there. So like I said, if you were making a big pile, you would want to use more whipping cream. Like I said, I started with 2 cups because once you whip it, and I added half a cup of sugar to it. So let's see, I may just kind of let those cookies peek out just a little bit. You know, so you can know what's going on. It could stand a little bit more green, couldn't it? Should I squirt more green on it? Or do y'all think it's okay?
It looks green.
Okay. And I put a half a teaspoon of vanilla, I think, in that whipping cream. So this is the last step, y'all. You can use walnuts, pecans, almonds, whatever cookie you decide to use.
Our recipe says a half a cup, but Paula never uses a half a cup.
You know, when I'm doing nuts, I don't measure my nuts, y'all.
That's why I do your big bag.
Yes, because I always like extra. And y'all know what? I have gotten where I made that carrot cake along with Sully's help for Kari, my niece's 40th birthday. And I use walnuts instead of pecans. And I think I'm in love with walnuts. I think I like them about as much as I do a pecan. I never thought I'd say that. So love and best dishes, y'all. There you go. We got to let it sit for a little while. So what little milk those cookies got on them, we got to let it kind of soften it up a little bit. Hey y'all, it's Paula Deen. Now, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it and click the subscribe button as well as the notification bell to be alerted when I post a video. Love and best dishes, y'all.